Welcome back from that short break. You're still watching the Dairy Lounge here on DreamTV and BTV. How are you doing? If you just joined us, good morning to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We get to stream live on imc.ug. No, www.imc.ug.
It's the same thing. It's
Go.
easier the other way. You don't want to
No.
complicate www. By the time you finish W's, I've
No.
already typed in imc.ug.
No. I have my own path. Let me use that one instead of using yours. Yours disorganizes me. Have the way things are compared.
imc.ug. www.
My name is Regis. Still, I'm here with Alex Simba, and right now we get to go on to.
We will, but just remind our viewership this morning that on Sunday, 23rd of March, which is this coming Sunday, there will be a special Sunday service beginning at 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. You don't want to miss out on that. To remind you also that throughout the Lunch Hour Fellowship this week, the apostles, John and Sarah Bunjo, will be ministering to you throughout the Lunch Hour Fellowship, beginning at 1 p.m. until 2:15 p.m. And then on Wednesday, you don't want to miss out on the high flyer that we have for you. You're taking us to your darling.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because now we are where Angola is urging the ceasefire ahead of the DRC and M23 peace talks. We have been at this dance for a minute. Yeah, the dance of peace talks, ceasefiring, and things like that for a while now, and yet nothing of substance has come of yet. But right now, the Angolan president, currently the chair of the African Union, has called for an immediate ceasefire in the ongoing conflict in DRC. Now, he has urged all parties to stop hostilities starting at midnight local time on Sunday in an effort to create a peaceful atmosphere for upcoming peace talks. So according to a statement from the Angolan presidency, the ceasefire must include all hostile actions against civilians and halt any attempts to gain new positions in the conflict zone. The talks are set to take place in Luanda, Angola on 18th of March.
Which is tomorrow.
Yeah, where the DRC government and the M23 rebels will meet for the first time in 3 years. Will they show up, Alex?
That was the problem. We are hoping that they will this time. The rebels usually will do. The presidents are usually too adamant, too proud to be able to attend. You remember the last one, because that man there has a lot of influence in that particular war. That is the Rwandese president. But you hear that the negotiations are going to be between the M23 and the government of DRC. So they might sit down and talk and so on and so forth. But issue is if Rwanda, because they have a cause, the Rwandese say there is presence of rebels who are likely to attack our country within your country. So there's no way we can withdraw. And they've gone ahead and taken sanctions from different countries and so on without any holding back.
Yeah. All right. Now, the DRC government has not officially confirmed its participation yet. The M23, however, has expressed support for Angola's peace initiative, calling on President Felix to publicly commit to direct negotiations.
Now, you see what happens. It happened a long time ago. There is a video. You are not born when this happened. But I told you the story about how President Obote at the time was saying Museveni is just a what and so on, and that's how he was referring to him then. But it overthrew the government and so on because he didn't want to sit on a table with President Museveni, who was a rebel at the time.
Talk things.
You get it? So she said, Kedi, I promised you, if he doesn't negotiate,
yeah, you say this is
within a year.
Yeah, you say this is the Let's wait and see.
Yeah, if he doesn't negotiate.
Yeah, that was never that was never a condition. You can't keep on upgrading.
No, I'm not upgrading anything. I know he despises the M23 as a rebel group, which is to his detriment, if you ask me. Yeah?
Someone can't poke a hole into your home and you're just willing to sit
To do
down
what?
and
No, they have grievances. Have you had land wrangles before?
yeah, on a personal level, no, but I've heard of
You've
people.
heard of them. Do you know what they fight for? A foot.
Yeah.
A foot of land from here to there. That place, let's measure it. You bring the Smanyi, what do they call them? Surveyors. And over a foot of land. And when you meet later, I went to an office where somebody was supposed to give me a service, and we had never had a land wrangle. He was the one supposed to give me a service. And when he said, but I know you. I said, yes, you know me, but in different circumstances. Right now, I need your help. But we had a difference over, I think it was a meter this time.
Who was taking it? You?
He's bigger, so he thought he would bully me into taking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
Okay.
do we go next?
We'll go to South Africa, and in South Africa, what has happened is that the U.S. has sent packing the South African ambassador to the U.S. Okay? So opposition parties in South Africa are urging the president in South Africa not to allow to be bullied by the Americans. Okay? This is after the expulsion of the ambassador, Ibrahim Rasool, and giving him just 72 hours to leave the country. Rasool was declared unwelcome, persona non grata, in the U.S. after the U.S. State Secretary, Marco Rubio, called him a race-baiting politician who hates America. Now, tensions between South Africa and the U.S. have been on a downward spiral since President Donald Trump took office. However, South Africa's Minister for International Relations, Ronald Lamola, has said that it is not helpful to engage in Twitter diplomacy, saying the two countries need to talk face to face. Other politicians were less measured in their response. Julius Malema of the Economic Freedom Party issued a scathing statement against the U.S., calling on South African President Cyril Ramaphosa not to allow the country to be bullied. Usually, what would happen is when they send your ambassador packing, you do likewise. But you see, South Africa is not one of those countries you're likely to bully. Why? Because they have alliances elsewhere.
Yeah.
We mentioned something about them and the Russians.
Yeah, BRICS.
BRICS. You get it. There's Russia in there. There's India in there. There's China in there. There's Russia in there. So you can't easily bully them on the account of we'll put sanctions on you. It's true, the US is much bigger than South Africa, but the truth is when you have solid alliances like those ones mentioned, I think the US at one point will stand to lose. At one point. What Donald Trump is doing, because if you put sanctions on, not sanctions, if you put tariffs on Canada, Canada is like your, usually in history they used to tell us, intimate bedfellow. You get somebody you sleep with, you cannot easily do certain things to because they'll mention what you do in your sleep. You get
wow, that and I feel like that is the weakest moment of any man.
If you sleep while you're drooling, everybody will.
Yeah, we'll get to know. I get that, but also, you know, sometimes I feel like what the US is trying to do is, you know, sometimes when your position is being threatened,
who's is being threatened?
For assault, I'm just giving it in a layman's.
Just tell me that the Americans are being threatened.
You have to, because they wanted to get that before you start getting any ideas that as China you can be the next superpower, as Russia as what. There are all these things that we can put in place to remind you who we are. And I think that is the same thing they're trying to go at South Africa.
You get it? You can't live in this modern world without alliances.
Yeah.
But your closest alliance, who is Canada, you decide to place tariffs. Mexico, however much they are,
but they pulled it back. So for you, you're saying, that
they are bullies. The US are bullies. They are bullying the world into. Now, the Pan-Africanist Congress Secretary Apa Poe also condemned the US decision, calling it an attack on South Africa's sovereignty and an attempt to dictate policy within the country. Now, it is true that it is unfair for the South African government to take away land just like that from the white population there. But the issue is, it is an internal issue. You cannot decide your policy in the US based on something that is happening in South Africa because of Elon Musk.
And you know, it is the same thing that I was thinking about in a
This
previous
guy
story.
Here, you cannot be Rubio and be American, purely American. You get it? So he traces his origin from some place maybe, and so on. And he's busy dictating who should be in the US and who shouldn't be.
Alex, yeah, you can't be Ruby and Bill. You know, it's. I wanted to say something. Even with the previous story that we talked about, when the Angolan president stands wherever he is and is like effective midnight today, I'm saying ABCD. Yet there are so many other things there in between that need to be addressed. You can't be on a high horse in another country, just making sure that.
He's offering to be a mediator. No, he's offering to be a mediator. But he's saying, if I'm to be involved in this thing,
this has to
go out. You get it? Because otherwise, my involvement is useless.
Let's not go back. But yeah, so what do we say? And it's crazy that there is a slow but surely Trump is trying. Which country is that was talking about the other time in his address and is like, no one knows about it, and then they came out to retaliate.
Lesotho.
Yes.
African country. So, but for all his good, he has no interest in Africans.
Yeah, and he has made it clear. I don't think he has any interest in anything previously else. In the other first...
let me clean it up and say he called us a toilet.
Wait, that's
American language. Yeah.
That's cleaning up?
No. He said in these countries, their leaders make them suffer and make their countries look like toilets.
And my question is, by you saying toilet, that's a cleanup.
That's like the cleaner one.
So I can only...
I cannot say it on air.
I can only imagine. But he made it clear that it's all about making America great again. Wherever. Now that begs the question, what does that mean for the rest? Can America be great again amongst other great nations, or should it stand
as a standalone great country?
Yeah.
They know better. There is an unfortunate incident that happened, Chava did North Macedonia. If you met 5 people or 10 people out there and asked them, where is North Macedonia on the map of the world, they wouldn't show you where it is. But 59 people died there in a nightclub. Apparently, I read the story and I was disturbed. Number one, they died in a nightclub which is not officially registered as a nightclub. There was a band called DNK, a popular band in that country. Members of the band also died. Only one member survived.
Yeah.
One member of the band survived and is being treated in a hospital. Now, prosecutors there are saying they have arrested 15 people to help with the investigations. They said the venue did not have a legal license to operate. The venue is around 100 kilometers away from Skopje, the capital of the country, and it's an improvised nightclub, according to local press. One of the members there said there was one efficient exit. Do you know why they build stadia and create a lot of exit points? The reason is when disaster occurs, people can easily... I know a disaster that happened in Ghana, I think, where people trampled upon one another in a stadium and lots of people died there. Okay, because they were exiting. Even when there is a stampede, when there is a stampede, there are people, there's a Ugandan, for example, who works at international events as a crowd manager. You get it? His job is to manage crowds. In case there is a stampede, in case there is a disaster and so on, how to manage those crowds and make sure they exit safely. Because if there is a bomb planted and you tell people there's a bomb, the bomb might not go off, but people will kill each other just by stamping on one another.
Yeah.
You get so.
You know, I don't think you've done any, you know, any bad, I don't want to say bad manners, but out of
The ordinary.
yeah, you seem to
be a straight guy.
Yeah, a straight guy, but maybe even but I have looked cool on the side.
What did you see when you looked to the side?
And I can tell you, that is no party. Like such a party. When you are in the wrong place, I'm telling you, Alex,
Yeah, but
that party hits different. If you survive.
okay, let me say that it might hit differently, but this is what happened 2 years or 3 years ago. You remember the incident that happened at Freedom City?
Yes.
Eve.
Yeah.
Where, I think 7 people. I don't know if it was 7 or more, but I remember the figure 7 somewhere featuring. Where I go to church is in a valley. And when you're there, you can see directly at Freedom City.
Okay.
You get it? So we were busy praying, and at midnight, we celebrate entry into the new year and so on. And you could peer through either the windows or the doors and see what was happening up there. You get it? Now, we are both entering the new year.
Yes.
In different locations.
Yeah.
Nothing hits like, but it hits to death, while this hits to life.
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah,
but I'm trying to bring my good guys.
You're straightforward into the.
But what we are saying is safety.
Yeah.
Okay, you're entering there, but is it safe for you?
Because apparently, formerly, it was a shop for carpets. So you never know, that could be one of the things that accommodated the fire. Furthermore, but one exit, whoa.
Okay, Trump, you need to talk about Trump.
Oh, yes. We shall be ending with this, where the U.S. has deported hundreds of Venezuelans despite the court order. Now, more than 200 of them, Venezuelans, alleged by the White House to be gang members, have been deported from the U.S. to a supermax prison in El Salvador.
Do you know what the name of that country means?
No.
The Savior.
Hey, did you watch those? What are they called?
Telemundo.
Hey, because that's what.
El Salvador is.
Even as the U.S. judge blocked the removals. Now, the El Salvadoran president, Nayib, wrote on social media that 238 members of the Ven gang had arrived in the Central American country, along with 23 members of the international MS-13 gang on Sunday. That was yesterday morning. Now, neither the U.S. government nor El Salvador has identified the detainees, nor provided details of the alleged criminality or gang membership. Now, I wanted to first mention a little bit about this. I know that most people get carried away by such stories, and then, of course, they will blast
about deportation.
Yes. But now, the biggest thing is they are alleged to be gang members. So that is yet to be confirmed. Yes. But now, let's talk about illegality, because this is where the whole issue is. Even as we want them to be treated fairly and things like that, how far can you go if someone is doing something illegally? Because that is the biggest issue. But look at how they are holding them. should it be found that they are not guilty, Alex, what
How do you explain
yes,
that?
how do you go about it? Will they be, because we know the US to be this straight up fellow.
In terms of the law,
Yes.
and human rights, and so on and so forth.
So, are they saying it's airtight that they can say for certain
These
these
are
are
criminals.
yes gang members? No, they're already criminals by being
Okay,
illegal.
by illegally being in the
Yes,
country,
being
they're criminals, but
yeah.
now being in
Being
involved.
gang members, that means that the extra force is called for. But being an illegal migrant, does that call for the same force that we are seeing on our screens right now?
Is that how they treat everybody they are expelling from their country? That's
So that is
question
the
that you ought to be asking,
yes.
and so on. We assume not, and we believe that it's the land of
Opportunity.
the land of justice and equality, the land of Trump. Okay, I will
Yeah,
keep
the
it at
land.
that for this particular morning.